Welcome to Bay Rats and Buoys Season 2 with your host, Captain Gaige.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. I'm your host, Captain Gaige. This is Season 2, episode number 32, brought to you in part by Cito Huntington. Are you a member? Visit Cito.com to join today. And the Fisherman Magazine, my favorite magazine to get in the mail. And Clicks Fueling. Visit clicksfueling.com. What's up, guys? Welcome back. I am on the boat. It is freezing out today. I'm out here Wednesday. It's going to pour all day tomorrow, so I figured let me get out here. And sure enough, I get down here. I set it all up. I sit down. I start the podcast, and it rains on me. So I'm a trooper. And I get under the top, under the console, turn the camera a different angle, move the board, soundboard that the microphone is plugged into, and I'm just like, am I really going to sit here? And I'm like, listen, we fish in the rain, we barbecue in the rain, why not podcast in the rain? And then the rain started raining heavy enough, and I'm like, you know what? We don't want to ruin the board. The microphone was fine. I put a bag over it. I went up in the office, waited for this rain to pass by, and here I am back on the boat, and we got a nice window here. I checked the radar, so I was like, all right, I'll come back down. So that happens. It's the first time that I've got rained on during a podcast here in Huntington. So I am podcasting live from the boat in Huntington. Today is Wednesday. So we were out yesterday fishing, and let's get into the fogginess that we had. Holy cow. So Friday and Saturday, that fog, I thought that thing was never going to lift, never going to clear up and get out of here. I felt like it was just staying here. But I'll tell you, on the radio, one of the captains used a term. It was tactical getting out here, so we were cracking up on the boat. And if you were brave enough to get out there Friday and Saturday during that fog and you managed to get to the fishing grounds, the bass were jumping out of the water. I mean, you could have netted them on the side of the boat. I mean, they were just blowing up all around us, and we were having a blast on top water action. So there's nothing better. I mean, that is what this time of the year is all about. Nobody was running and gunning. It wasn't like birds were working. It was just like you'll see it here in the video. And I put a video up today showing that I made a video of just of the top water action that we had just from Friday and Saturday. That's really what the premise in the video was about. It was 2 minutes long, 2.5 minutes long. And it just showed what we were using and what we got them on, which I brought here today to show everybody. That's why I give you more details in the podcast, and I'm going to be able to explain to you what we were throwing, why we used it, and what was going on, and some of the equipment that we used. This way you guys can get out. I was just talking to a guy up in the office, stopped down to sign up for Cito, and he's got a Grady White, and he's going out Saturday, and he's going fishing for striped bass, and he's excited to get out there. And he was asking, is there any topwater action? Are they hitting? And I said, yes, they are. And this is what you should throw. So he'll be heading over to one of our sponsors for the tournament. We got to thank Rob over at High Hook here in Huntington, High Hook Bait and Tackle. He jumped in as a sponsor and be putting some products in the buckets for the guys that sign up, the first 25 people. So registrations, if you've seen the ad, we got a full-page ad in the wonderful Fisherman Magazine. So it's pretty easy to get to, actually. I don't even think I have to go too far. I found it pretty quickly last time. So there it is. There's the full-page ad for Bay Rats and Buoys. So if you guys check that out, you can scan the QR code and go register your boat, which some people have seen the ad and definitely done. It says here, call with any questions, and I have gotten phone calls about it. So people are calling up, asking, and a lot of people have been reaching out to me regarding tagging, including Matt from J&M Seafood, who we greatly appreciate, our grand prize sponsor. So if any of you guys are in the need for any great seafood, head on over to East Northport and stop and see Matt and the boys. They're always tuned in listening, and he listened last week and he gave me a call. Probably midway. He probably heard what I said and got on the phone and called me, which was pretty funny. And Matt, we appreciate it, but he's like, did somebody really call and complain? And I'm like, yeah, I got text messages here. I can show you. I got proof, And that's what's great about a text message is you actually do have proof. So sometimes maybe it's better to just give them a call. So I got a text message about somebody saying that me and Corey preach that, we, catch and release and we do the right thing by the fish. And here's Matt out in the sound in 5-foot seas holding up 2 striped bass vertically. And, listen, when we pick the fish up by the mouth to pick it up before we get a hand on it, it's vertical. We pick it up. We put a hand under it. We support his belly, support the weight of the organs and whatnot in the fish. You see these guys holding fish, at docks all over, Queens, New York, everywhere, all along anywhere where you're surfing from, fishing from the surf, and they're holding up the fish by the gills just to take a photograph with it. And, there's a proper way to hold a fish. And if you're going to go post a picture on social media, you should at least learn how to hold a fish. Now, did you go get a license? I don't know. It's free. Did you even sign up for one? I have no idea, but you clearly have no clue how to hold a fish. And in Matt's case, Matt knows how to hold a fish, okay? I'm not defending Matt, but I'm just telling you. Matt knows how to hold a fish. And so he called and he said, somebody really complained. And I said, yeah, listen, me and Corey preached that we do all this tagging and conservation and this great stuff. And here you are holding up a fish. I wasn't holding up the fish. I didn't do that, But to his defense, and easily to his defense, you got to pick the fish up off the boat. Hold them up. He had 2 at a time. You grab them by the mouths and you throw them in the water. That's exactly what he did. So, he really didn't do anything wrong. But when you look at the photograph, somebody texted me and thought that the fish were dead. He clearly killed him, and, that wasn't the case. So we just got to tell the story because it's funny stuff. It's stuff that happens. A picture tells it, tells the story. But everybody comes up with their own, idea. But if you're grabbing it by the gills, yes, you're in where it breathes. You're holding its lungs. So not a good look. If you want to pick it up, get bass thumb like the rest of us, which I know Corey used the lip gripper this week because of his bass thumb incidents, and these things are like doing the alligator death roll on us when they get on the boat. And speaking of them getting on the boat, so let's go back to the tagging aspect, which we did show in this video this week. And Matt at J&M Seafood, you and the boys over there, you guys are invited. Come out on the boat, and we'll show you how we tag them. But in the video, we do show that we use this applicator. Okay, this is the applicator from Gray Fish Tag Research. And you'll see in the video, Corey will lift the scale off. So use the point of this. It's very easy to just lift the scale up and then pull that scale off. You're going to see where that scale is now missing from. It's very easy. And you're going to go back and put the point where that scale is missing from and just give this a bump. Boop. And that's it. It's got a barb on it. The tag comes off. And the tag will be just like that in the fish. You do it right by the dorsal fins. So here's the dorsal fins. You put them right in up top like that. You'll see in the video. You bump it in. You lift it up. You throw it in the water. And that's it. Fish gone. So Matt caught so many fish that day that we were out there, that Tuesday, when we had 5-foot seas out in the Sound, and there were 5 boats out there, and all 5 boats were hooking up. So some days, you get out there, you get rewarded. You go through the fog, you get through the fog, and man, we had epic topwater action. And we tagged a bunch of fish that day, too. That's what we have in the video here. And everything was 36 to 40 inches on Friday. Gene was out, and Gene was on the boat, and he was using a silver floater spoon. And it was funny because we got into them. We saw them on the screen. The screen was stacked up, which I'll show you here. He drops down on the floater spoon, and he's like, come on. And, he gave no clue as to, oh, this is a real fish. Oh, we're going to need the net. Any of that. No. I'm on this side over here on the starboard side, and all of a sudden I hear a tail whap over there. And I'm like, whoa, bro, you got a real fish over there. Let me grab the net. And sure enough, he's got a 40-inch bass that's on the boat. And, kudos to him. Great fish to catch. And they were finicky, so we've been finding that. And they've been feeding on the sand eels. So I told you in last week's report or episode, one of them, I mentioned that there was a sand eel hatch and that they're gorging on sand eels. So the fish that we brought up on the boat were all spitting up sand eels. That Tuesday prior, a week before today, last Tuesday, Matt had the bass coming on the boat, and they were spitting up bunker, and they spit up a whole swim shad. So you wonder how they get a whole swim shad off. It's very easy when you use an umbrella rig. There's some shads that are on the umbrella rigs that do not have hooks in them. So a lot of times they could come in and hit that one, and if they hit that and pull it off, your rod bends, you think you got a fish on, you go to grab the rod, and he's gone, and he took the umbrella, he took the shad. So he actually spit up a white shad on Matt's boat. And, Matt caught a lot of fish that day. So, Matt, yeah, you could have tagged a lot of fish, which is great. So I'm really glad that you're going to get in tagging these fish. And we'll be happy to show you how you do it. It's here in the video. You can see it. It's very easy, self-explanatory. And even in yesterday's charter, we tagged the 2, the 36 and the 37. And these guys came up with names for it. So, you get to name the fish. There's a card you got to fill out. So most important details is really to get the size of the fish. Obviously, we have them up on the gunnels up to 36, and then we have 48 on the floor. So it's a quick measure, and we're measuring it while we're bumping the tag in, and boom, it's an easy process. If we get a big one on the boat like Chuck did, kudos to Chuck on, was it Saturday? Saturday, Chuck got out there. He calls me. He's like, I got a 50-incher. We got a 50-inch fish on the boat. I'll show you in the picture here. It was fantastic. And, that's a trophy fish, guys. Anytime you catch a 50-inch bass in the area, 50-inch is definitely a big fish, especially for our area. Over 4 feet. Anything over 4 feet is considered huge and a trophy, which was great for the guys on his boat that actually landed it and got it on the boat. And, if I'm not mistaken, there's a good chance he got it on the Mini Mojos. And maybe not this brand. So maybe he was using a different brand. But when we get into them, if we don't drop the flutter spoons down because the current is ripping and we want to get down, we'll drop the 4 or the 6-ounce Mini Mojos. So we don't troll these behind the boat. We're actually just dropping these down to the bottom, yo-yoing them, bouncing them off the bottom, and then crank them up, give them 5, 6, 7, 8 cranks, and let it fall back down and do the same thing. And the bass just, they take these things. They go after these things like you wouldn't believe. But to Friday and Saturday's fog, the topwater action was insane. And I recently came back, ran over to High Hook and grabbed some of these BKK hooks because you guys all know I'm a big fan of the BKK hooks. These things are absolutely awesome. And swapped out the treble hooks that were in the video because we had to use the pliers to get the treble hook out, and I hate treble hooks. So I'm replacing all treble hooks for BKKs and single hooks just because it's so much easier. And you can also, if you want to make it easy to get this off of the fish, you can press down the barb here, which is very easy to do. Especially if you have a pair of the Danko pliers from the Fisherman magazine. If you showed up to one of the shows where you subscribe to the magazine and they gave you these are great to have on board. Me and Corey absolutely love them. And so there you go. They were whacking the spook out there. They were crushing this thing. And in the video I showed that I put up today, I actually show a little bit of the technique where I threw right over the blow up and I crank it back in, and I'm cranking it back in, and I'm just giving it a little twitch here and there, and then pause. And that pause is when it always gets exploded on. You can actually see it in the video here. If you actually watch me twitching it back in and boom, just stop, you see the rod bend on the stop. And it happens all the time. So you got to give that lure a chance in the blow up to get hit. Don't crank it through thinking that, they're going to go after it just because it's skimming across the top of the water. You want to make them think that they injured it with their tail or with their head or somehow, or it's just waiting to get eaten in the mix. So, we showed you the picture of the 5-inch sand eels. Check this out. I told you last week I held up a bunch of products and showed you what we picked up at the Ward Melville show. This was from Game On, and it is the sand eel. This is it. You throw this is getting crushed. You throw that into a blow-up right now out there, and this is absolutely getting crushed because this is what they're spitting up. So they're spitting up bunker, and they're spitting up sand eels. And I know some guys on the Connecticut side had them spitting up manta shrimp. So, speaking of bunker, I was getting some intel from Manny. What's up, Manny? We appreciate you. And, so we were texting back and forth, and Manny was telling me that they were chunking and live lining in his area outside in the Sound, and he's west of us. A good ways west of us. And he sent me a picture on Saturday morning because he knew we had a charter, and he was asking, yesterday morning, he was asking, it was Tuesday morning, and he was asking what's going on over there. He sent me a screenshot. They were stacked up in his area, but they were finicky. They weren't chewing. And that happens. Now this water temperature is definitely affected by this cold snap. It's October here today. It's cold. It's cold today. My hands could be cold. There's no Diet Coke coming out of the cooler right now unless I'm thirsty because my hands are actually going into the pocket to keep them warm. I got a wind at my back, and the water temperature is down to 61. It's 61.9 right now in the harbor. And that's been fluctuating, so that was up at 63, 64, and now it dropped down today at 61.9. In the Sound, I haven't seen it past 60. I've seen it get to 59 degrees, 59, up there in 59, high 59s, but I haven't seen 60-degree water temp out there in the Sound. And, I feel like we're 2 weeks behind. I always tell you have 2 weeks to go fishing, got to find these windows. So Manny found the windows, just like we were talking about. And he's like, I think the wind's going to die down tomorrow. I may head out and, shoot east a little bit. And I was like, it's northwest wind. It's, you're going to get it over to port side. So we're going, when it's north, we're going right into it. So, it's a little bit easier to, maintain a heading and keep dry. But those north winds are good for the toggen. And it was choppy out there yesterday. It really was. But we got on them. They were finicky. They definitely were finicky. And, I had a couple of surf casters on the boat that really wanted to get on some topwater action. And, after Friday and Saturday, you think, wow, topwater was easy to find, easy to see. It was happening all around the boat. And you get out there on Tuesday, and it's a totally different story. You don't see any explosions, nothing coming up to the surface. And we're finding stacks of them. And even when we drop into them, they were very finicky. So exactly what Manny was experiencing west of us, we were experiencing here in our area. And we did manage to get 36 and 37-inch bass over the gunnels yesterday. And we tagged them. We tagged them and we let them go. So that was just the past 3 or 4 days of what's going on here. And, we're coming into Memorial Day weekend, and it's cold right now. So that's May. May is an iffy month. Hopefully, June will be the month that we're all waiting for and get that water temperature. We're going to start our fluke fishing within the next 7 days where we get out there and actually go for the flatties and go catch some nice-sized fluke, find them, get on them, have some fun, and switch it up. I mean, we're on the bass. We have a ton of charters coming up, and we are on the bass. If you want to get out there and catch some bass, definitely hit us up at SandCityCharter.com. We'll be happy to get you out there. And Ant and a whole bunch of the guys that have been reaching out, we definitely are going to run an open boat where we can just take out 2 or 3 guys that want to go out as singles that don't have 3 or 4 other people that can book a private charter and do the private charter all by yourself. So we're going to hook up a couple of days where me and Corey are going to say, hey, on Tuesday or Wednesday morning, we're running an open boat, and you guys want to come join us, you come out. We'll try to put you on some bass. And, so I showed you what I used. I showed the eel. I showed the spook. I showed the tag. I showed the mini mojos. I put together a bag. Now, I picked up a bag at Ward Melville. And there's a congratulations in order for the company that I'm going to show you the bag right now because they just opened up a fuel dock on the South Shore. And you all know All Pro. So All Pro, this is the bag I picked up at. I have a bunch of bags, and I love the bags that fold up and Velcro, and boom, everything's in the bag. And I could open this bag up in 2 seconds, and I will have anything that I really need to put on one of my 3 or 4 setups that are on the boat ready to throw at the bass. All right, so let's unvelcro that. I mean, it's wet because, guys, I got rained on just prior to doing this. So I was already out here doing this podcast, and I didn't mind the drizzle. You know, I was saying we fish in the rain, we barbecue in the rain, I podcast in the rain, kind of cool. And then it rained real hard on me, so I was like, I'm out of here. And I'm back now, so that's why the bag's a little wet. But, you know, I got my Nomad, my Chug Norris. You know, I always talk about the Nomads and the single, you know, the BKK hooks and these Chug Norris, these things. If you want to attract fish on Topwater, they actually have a square head as opposed to the Super Strike that has a round head. And that square head, when you give it a nice little tug, the water that this thing moves sounds like a fish coming out of the water and hitting the lure. It has a real nice sound to it, so it definitely attracts the fish. Then you see the sand eel that I just showed you. Here's the Game On in the other two colors, so in the chartreuse and in the white, and then I showed you the sand eel one. Then I got some bunker here that we're going to match. That one, this one was given to me by a client that comes on the boat, Anton Jr. Greatly appreciated Anton Jr. And that actually killed it. When I was in the back on bunker and I was throwing this thing was getting crushed in the back bays, which was a ton of fun to use. And then you see, I even threw in the bag, even though I have that Nomad case for the Vibes, I have the Vibe case, I actually put the Vibes in here so I have easy access to them. I even put the Squid Treks, which is also the Nomad, all right, in the same division as the Vibe. So I put the Squid Treks down here. I got my Smackets in here, but I got to swap out these treble hooks. Those I usually throw into the blues, and I hate treble hooks and blues. That is, you know, that's how you get a hole in waders. That's happened to me when I was surf fishing, for sure. And here's the All Pro, the big wide spoon that they have, the flutter spoon. So I have not used this yet. This is going down. This is going to drop down, no doubt. We'll have some cool videos. My Super Strikes, I have white. I usually white and green eyes, and always a yellow. Always have different colors to change up, but the bag is pretty much ready to go for the bass. And anything that gets thrown my way, I'll be ready for. And there you go. There's the All-Pro bag. I picked it up at the Ward Melville show. Because I always tell you guys that I'd like to support local businesses. And speaking of supporting local businesses, yeah, you know, I'm real excited. You know, a lot of local companies are starting to reach out, hearing about the tournament. They see it in the magazine. They want to get involved. And that's really cool. So it's just going to make the tournament bigger and better. And, you know, Rob at High Hook, I really appreciate. You know, he's going to throw some stuff in the product bucket, which is going to be awesome. So you're going to want to head over there and visit stripedbassinvitational.com and register your boat. And thanks to Matt at J&M Seafood and the guys over there. You guys are all invited out on the boat to come fishing. Let's go have some fun. We'll make some really cool videos. We're changing up the way we're making the videos even on the boat. Me and Corey are really into what we're doing now. We're honed in. So we got a nice little system on the boat where everything's clicking and vibing and doing. So we're changing up some of our ways as far as the way we're filming, what we're doing, and we're going to start making some real cool videos. So any of my buddies here in the marina want to get out and get on some fish, because, man, I'm in the best spot. I got great guys in here. You know, the guys that we get to talk to and the local businesses really is cool. My Friday, my messages, the phone calls I was getting while I was out there, I think I heard from every captain in the area. Then Saturday, you know, I saw Captain Dave from North Island fly in my area. Not my area, it's his area too. So I love seeing Dave. You know, I see him out there all the time. I'll even see him cruise through the harbor here. So we'll stop and bullshit and talk about what's going on. And, you know, there's times we're out there and we're like, yeah, we found them and they're just not feeding, you know. And that's what we're all talking about. You know, we're talking about where we found they're here. We got them. It's blowing up. You know, like Matt told me the one day when he came in, he's like, yo, it's on fire out there. And, you know, so I'll turn the key and I go. I can go right now. I can stop the podcast. If somebody told me it's blowing up in the bay, I go. And if you want to come join me, you come join me. So reach out. It's that easy. We're very easy to book. We're very easy to get on the boat and go fishing. There's nobody that makes it any easier. We're super easy. Tomorrow it's going to rain. And Ed had the charter booked. He's got a couple booked. This is one of his dates was tomorrow. And he's got one just a few weeks after tomorrow, so he knows he's still going to get on the bath. And he's like, yeah, it's raining. Let's book another day. And that's what he did. And we make it that easy, We try to make it easy. And then there's a lot of customers that really want to get out there on the topwater action. And I get that, because to me that's the most fun. And I showed you the RH rod. So when we could throw the RH rod at them and get on real light tackle and get on big fish and have a blast, those are the best, I threw my BG with the Talavera in the video that I showed today on Facebook. And I think it was a BG 4000 reel that I have on. And, we were throwing into some big fish. We saw some big tails. So we knew we were getting into 40-inch, 45-inch fish. And everything we were pulling up was 37, 36s, 38s, 39s. And, they're a ton of fun to catch on top water. There's nothing better. So just getting to, and, it's cool we caught it on video. And we always do. But it's so cool to see the explosion of them chasing your lure, And let them chase it. They're going to go after it. Twitch it, and stop. When you stop, you're going to see they hit it, and then your line comes tight. You see the peeling the drag off your reel. And, it's a ton of fun. It really is. So we love this time of the year. It doesn't get any better. I just wish that we would have our 70-degree days. We're going to get a few of them coming up. I see the forecast. And you got to look at that rain, guys, because if it says 35% chance of rain on Saturday, you got to look at it because it's midnight. It's raining at midnight. So it could rain from 12 to 2 a.m., and that was the 35% chance, But remember, these days when there's cloud cover, it's going to be cold out there. So make sure you have the proper, have a jacket, have a hat, have sweatshirts. If you're not wearing the right clothing out there, it can, this water temperature is not warm by any sense of anything warm. So the air coming off of the cooler water, there's always a feel like, it says it's 52. Well, 52 is going to, 55 is going to feel like 48 out there. It was cold. And dress appropriately, especially if you're going to get wet, get splashed, or any of that stuff. You want to, have the right equipment, wear the right stuff. And just like I said to Ed today, I said, you want to reschedule? It's going to rain, but this is why they made foul weather gear. Me and Corey are ready to go. If it's raining, we're going. If it's blowing, we're going. We don't care. We'll find the fish. There's so many areas to tuck into and go if you got to get away from the weather, too. It's really just gale force winds, small craft advisories, wind out of the northeast, and, thunder and lightning. Never a good time. So it is boating safety week, so do take the safety, we do take the safety part of it seriously. We don't take it for granted, but it's always in the back of our mind, especially as a captain. I have a game plan. Like, we went out there looking for topwater on Tuesday morning yesterday, and the game plan was to throw at them and catch some fish on topwater. And you get out there, and there's 2-3 footers. Actually, there were whitecaps yesterday. It was breaking. There were whitecaps. So when that's happening, it's a little harder to see them on top, and there were no birds working. There was no sign of fish, at the top. And we were marking them. We were marking them at mid-water column. We were marking them deep. And when I say deep, we were marking a lot of fish in 50 feet. There were a lot of pods. There were a lot of big fish. There was a ton of bait in the water. And it's real cool to be able to see it all on the side scan now, which I did bring down to the boat today. I do have Bay Rats and Buoys thumb drives as well to give out to some of the people that are going to be sponsoring us so that they could check out all the files and the videos and whatnot on. I do have custom ones. I didn't have one in my pocket, but I did bring this down today, 128 gigabytes that I will be sticking in the back of the new Simrad because I will be doing screen recording, okay, so that, you take a picture with your phone of the sonar when it's all lit up or the down scan or whatever you're using, and the picture has a glare, there's a sun, there's this, you see the reflection of the phone pointed at it. So I'm just going to just straight up record the entire screen while I'm out there and be able to take this with me and then put up on the screen in our videos that we're making. Because like I said, we are taking the video thing to a whole nother level. And I'll be able to show you guys, and hopefully teach you some of the things that we're doing. Because I'm a sponge. I love learning. You know what I mean? I'm not done learning. There's a lot to learn. I don't know everything, and I don't want to know everything, and I don't pretend to know everything. You know, when I'm doing my technique and I'm catching them, I'm showing you it works. The other people do it totally different, and it works absolutely. You know, one guy goes out there and he comes back and he says, guys, they were only hitting white today. And the other guy comes back that was fishing 100 yards away and he says they were only hitting chartreuse today. And neither one of them are wrong. That's what they were using and that's what they were hitting them on, you know. But there's days where I have this over one side and this over the other, and this is the only thing they're taking, and vice versa, you know. So that's why you got to switch it up and always have the colors with you and be prepared. And really, just, you know, I'm helping you out by telling you the sand eels out there. So if you can match the hatch, that's really going to help you hook up into fish. Even for guys that are throwing from the beach, doesn't matter where you're fishing from. You know, if you can match the hatch, you have a much better chance of hooking up with these fish, especially when they're finicky. So, you know, we got a lot of new gear and a lot of new stuff that we're testing and products that people send to us because of Bay Rats and Buoys, and we're very grateful. You know, we are. We're grateful that we have a platform. We're grateful that we have a charter and, you know, that we fish for work, and this is what we do. We're not trying to make people jealous, you know, just because you're sitting in your office watching the screen right now and I'm about to go fishing and catch some bass. You can't get mad at me. You chose to work in the office, and I chose to do this. That's all different. Not a big deal. All right? Matt and the boys at J&M, how's the office doing? So, no, really, you know, that's work, you know, and he said he hadn't been out in a few days, so I break your chops, have a little fun. And but that's why I give you intel, so you know what's going on right now, because a week ago he was catching fish that had bunker in them, and now you're going to catch fish that have sand eels in them. So, you know, maybe you change it up a little bit and help you catch some more fish. So I'm always going to have some fun, especially with our sponsors. We got awesome sponsors and great people involved in the tournament. Great fish tags. So there's a lot of people that want to tag fish. They're reaching out to me. They are. You know, I got Big Joe in the marina here. He wanted to contact Grays. I got, you know, Matt we just talked about that did no wrong last week by holding up a fish. And he wants to tag fish. And if he was tagging fish, he could have went through 18 tags that day. Now, here's the other thing. You take the tag out, you take it off the card. You know, you put the fish down, you throw the fish in the water, your hands are wet, and you're not going to fill out the card right there. So you're really not going to do 10 in a row if you're really on them. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of times we'll get a fish on board, and Corey's already got the tag in the applicator, you know, for the next card that's going to be used. He's really good at putting a name on it. He'll ask them what they want to name it, the date. He puts all that stuff so that we can keep track of everything that we're tagging. And there are times that we get a fish on the boat so fast from the last one that we didn't get it ready in time, and I'm like, nah, just let it go. You know, we don't waste any time. We don't make the fish stay out of water, you know, any longer than it needs to be. So we're trying to help this fishery out, not ruin it. And the more we can teach that, and the more people that want to get involved in tagging, feel free to reach out to me. I will be happy to make it happen for you and teach you how to do it and how to get involved. There's a couple of different companies you can use. I happen to now favor the one tag over one of the other ones because of the way that it's applicated into the fish. It's more like when I was tagging the sharks for Noah, and very similar. Which, you know, that brings me to Corey. I actually have another applicator. I have a handheld dowel that I had given a Mark over at Cow Harbor to actually wrap the handle on, which he did a really nice job. And he did the handle on one of Corey's rods. He added like 5 inches to it, which was a game changer for Corey. So, you know, everybody's got their little niches, and that's what we love. Everybody has their niche, and stick to your niche, work it. You want to get out there and catch fish, now's the time. We're going to go fluking. I can't wait. I can't wait to get on some nice drifts. And last year I didn't do so good on the fluke. I caught fluke, but just size-wise. And I don't know if you guys had that issue too. You know, you hear of there's some decent fish being caught, but every fish was like 18 inches, you know. And it changes. I think, it's 19, and then at a certain point in the season in August or a certain point of the season, there's a date where it changes to 19 and a half. And I obviously have screenshots of that here so that I could look it up and look up the information here on the boat real quick. I don't have to go to any websites or whatnot. I have it all printed out here so I could just take a look at it and see, which I did not do because I have not started the fluke fish yet, okay? We do have a couple of trips coming up with kids and going out and doing porgies. I'm on a charter. I'm a chaperone on a boat at a cap tree for my daughter's class. That's coming up. That's in 2 weeks. That's exciting. So, she'll be excited to bring her own rod on the boat and use her own rigs and her own gulp and her own bucktails and, her own teasers and whatnot. She's 10 years old, by the way, and she's been on the cover of the magazine. I show her off all the time. And she lets us know that she's a cover girl and we're not on the cover. So you hear that, Matt and Tim? It's time for us to start taking some cover quality photos here at Sand City Charter on our Hydra yacht. It's really a Hydra sport, but to us, it's a Hydra yacht. We get out there, we find the fish. So that was 35 minutes in the books in the cold. I showed you guys a bunch of the lures that we use and a bunch of the stuff when the blues show up. I'm going to get to show you my new hockey stick gaff. Thanks to Corey's Customs, because, he makes me all kinds of cool stuff for the boat. And as he should. Because if it's not on this boat, I can't show it to you. But I'm not going to show it to you until we use it. And as we use stuff, I will show it to you. And, somebody reached out to him and wanted to get one of the lip grippers that we had to let the fish go. Well, you don't have to touch the cold water right now and get your hands cold. Because right now, if I touch the water, it's going to be cold. And I don't like the cold. I want warm weather already. Please, could we heat up a little bit? And hopefully the fishing heats up. It's only going to get better. It's really good out there right now. So as this temperature, these cold snaps, they definitely affect the bite. They affect the fish. So hopefully this water heats up, temperature heats up, and we get out there in the next week or two, and it's lights out. And if we're 2 weeks behind, and that holds true, Sunday, June 22nd is going to be a lights-out day for fishing. And I'm not even worried about a jinx or any of that stuff. I'm not jinxing anything. People get on the boat and I say, come on, let's get out there and go catch some fish. Hopefully we do, They're like, oh, don't jinx us. And I'm, no, there's no jinx. We got to, they're here. We'll find them. You got to find the fish. But, weather-wise, temperature-wise, water temperature-wise, I think it's going to be perfect for what we're doing and what we're looking to do. I'm excited to get out there for the Manhattan Cup. Very excited. And I think we're going to stay out there the night before the tournament. We're going to head out that way. So maybe time to make some phone calls and arrangements. Any of you guys out in that area, I'm coming. So maybe you could help us out, tell us what we got to do. I'm going to give them a call and speak to Pete Tarnowski, my boy. He's involved. He knows the guys over there. He's there every year. He was just out on Sean's boat. I saw those pictures. We were out there, too, that day. So it's always good to see other people getting on the fish as well and not getting posterized in the back of our rods bending in our videos, because that's happening. In a lot of videos. And we're going to posterize it. We're actually going to show you. Your boat's going to show up in the video. You might be, hey, that's me. Looking at them catching a fish. Just how it is. All right, guys. If you want to head over to sandcitycharter.com, check us out. We'll be happy to get you out there on a private charter. Come join me and Corey. Have a little bit of fun. We'll make some cool videos. You don't want to be in videos. We won't make any videos. We'll just catch fish. Whatever you want to do, we're down. We just have a good time. We even play some music. You don't want to play music. You think you're going to scare the fish? We'll keep it quiet. We'll go sneak up on the fish, if that's what you're into. But let us know. Head over to sandcitycharter.com. Get in touch with me. I'll be happy to get you out there. And if you guys want to register your boat, now is a good time to get registered for stripedbassinvitational.com. That is the website. Head on over there. Register your boat. I did hear from a couple of people that are Freedom Boat Club members that were asking if they would still be able to register without having knowing the registration number to the boat. And the answer to that question is yes. Okay? If you don't have the registration numbers to your boat and you own the boat, there would be really no reason for you not to have it, but I understand in their case. But they're covered through Cito. And Cito is the sponsor of the tournament. And if you break down, Cito's going to tow you back in for free if you are a participant registered in the tournament and you gave me your registration numbers on the form on the site. So that's why it asks for it. If you did not give your registration numbers on the site, on the form, then you will not be towed back in for free. So you're going to want to put your registration numbers in there, or at least reach out to me. If you sign up, if you're registered, get in touch with me. I'm happy to answer any questions and all questions. We're excited. We're going to work out the details this week for the captain's meeting because we are coming down to a month away from it now, and we will give you a time and a date and where we're all going to meet. And the phone calls are coming in and the questions are arising, so I'll try to answer some of them here as I think of them as they pop up, just like I did with the Freedom Boat Club that just reached out. So, yes, if you're in the Freedom Boat Club and you want to join the tournament, you absolutely can. So feel free to book a reservation and hold a boat and come on out and join us, and maybe you could win the Striped Bass Invitational. Bay Rats and Buoys podcast. It's our first annual Striped Bass Invitation. We're excited about it. It's really exciting. And hope you guys come out and enjoy the day. Have some fun with us. This is episode 32 on the boat, in the books. To everybody listening, we love you. Thank you. Greatly appreciate you. And we will see you next time. Captain Gaige, signing out. Over and out, guys. Bay Rats and Buoys presents Long Island's hottest new striped bass tournament. Our first annual Striped Bass Invitational. Going down in the Long Island Sound. Sunday, June 22nd, 2025. Shotgun start at 7:30 a.m. just north of the Huntington Lighthouse. 4 categories with first, second, and third place. Grand prize for the longest striped bass division, thanks to J&M Seafood. The first 25 boats to register will receive our tournament bucket loaded with sponsors' products. Compete for conservation in our tagging division. Catch and release format. Sponsorship opportunities are available. Sponsor the passion. Fuel the competition. Signing up is easy. Visit stripedbassinvitational.com. That's stripedbassinvitational.com, or just scan the QR code.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Bay Rats and Buoys. Be sure to visit sandcitycharter.com and follow Captain Gaige on all our social media channels.